Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you guys doing well. Happy Sunday to everyone. I hope you guys are in shape today for a good show. Give me a thumbs up, guys, if you will, just to make sure that everything's okay on your side. Volume. Last show, number 35, we had some issues with technical issues with internet. And I appreciate you guys hanging in there. We kind of kept it going as long as we could, but the software would crap out on me ever so often. Unfortunately, that's due to internet. I don't know what it is. I have internet fiber, which is supposed to be like super fast, right? And it is normally, like today I rebooted the modem before actually starting the show. I just wanted to make sure everything was good. And before rebooting the modem, I was getting really slow speeds. After rebooting the modem, I'm up to 412 megabits per second upload and 263 megabits per second download, which is fantastic normally, except it fluctuates. It doesn't always stay there. And so I'm just hoping it's not going to happen again today. Hopefully, we won't have any gremlins. But lately, I've been having a lot of issues with hardware. It's just not cooperating with me. So I appreciate your patience, guys. So welcome to another live chat with me, Tony, Addicted to Gear. I just wanted to say hi to everyone before we get started. Thank you for joining me again. Super happy to see everybody in the house and everybody safe and healthy, which is fantastic. Um, so today's number 36, guys, and we're not far from fall. It's starting to feel like fall to me. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I mean, it's already starting to cool off over here, which is not necessarily a bad thing because we had some pretty humid and uncomfortable days, and I'm more of a winter guy, just because I live in Canada, right? So what else would I be? But I'm enjoying the seasons anyways, and for me, September, October is my favorite time of year because it's still warm but not uncomfortable, and I think that's important, especially if you're doing any kind of outdoor activities. So I wanted to say before we get going, like usual, thank you for joining me. Today you can take advantage of the ATG 36 discount code, which I always post when we do these live events. If you guys want to grab any swag, any Addicted to Gear shirts, mugs, whatever you guys feel like picking up, you can do that and get a 10% discount with the ATG 36 code, and you have the link down below. I also want to give a big shout out to our sponsor today because the video is being sponsored by Custom Guitar Picks, and I just wanted to give them a shout out so that you guys know that you can get a discount there as well. You can actually get a 30% discount off their products, and I just wanted to show that to you very quickly here. So I'm going to just pull it up on the screen because I find that their products are really nice. Um, Basically, what they do is they supply custom guitar picks. You can actually put an order and just start your own design right over here. And basically, you can choose the style of pick. You can upload your logo. You can choose the thickness. You can even get custom packaging for your picks and basically choose everything from the type, the style, the look, the thickness, and it's quite nice. And they have the jazz sizes, and that's what I like to use. So I'm super happy to be partnering up with these guys so that you can take advantage of having some really cool custom looking picks for yourself. So the link's down below if you're interested. When you check out, just type in Addicted to Gear and you automatically get that 30% discount. I'm going to order some for myself and maybe just send them out to you guys if you're interested in getting some with the Addicted to Gear logo on it. And just because these are the picks that I like. That's the shape. I get these all the time and they actually have them, which is pretty cool because most of the time you don't get these picks. You get the standard, Fender style picks, which to me are not the best. So I like the fact that you have a choice there. So let's say good morning to everybody who's in the house, like I normally like to do. So Paul, good morning. Jack, you are first in line waiting for the show to start. I appreciate that, Jack. Thank you for joining us. We have Alan in the house as well. Nice to see you as well. Bruce, always a pleasure. He's in New York City. The Gospel of Mark. I think the Gospel of Mark has been busy posting on Instagram. I've been following your Instagram posts. You post some very entertaining stuff there. I really like watching and checking out your guitars and stuff. You have a nice collection going on. The Nai, good morning. Another fellow Canadian from Alberta. Nice to see you in the house. And Mark FX, that's a new name. I haven't seen you around before, Mark. So nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Who else is in the house here? Steve, nice to see you, Steve. Fat Philosopher, good morning or good evening in your case. Richard Johnson, nice to see you. Michael Scott, good morning. Barry as well. What do you think of the D'Angelico solid bodies? I've been looking at the D'Angelico guitars. They're very nice. I like them. I feel that the headstock is a little bit too decorative for my taste. I'm a more simple type of headstock kind of guy, but in terms of the style and quality, and I can really tell that they're really well made. I haven't tried one personally, but I've been eyeing them for quite a while now. Um, to me, I think they would make a great guitar. James, good morning as well. James is in Woodbury. Jakal, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Thank you for joining me, guys. So let's get the show started. The question of the day, it was posted at the top. If you guys missed it, you can just scroll. And the question is, if you have to play either live or at home or whatever with more pedals than four, is that a sign that you might just need a better amplifier? That being said, it's sort of like the idea of if you need that much to help you get the sound you want, maybe you might be better off trying to get a different amp that will do the trick. So let me hear what you guys think on that. I know you guys have your own opinions. So what else? Let me know what you guys think on that question. For me, I can give you my answer, but I won't give it right away. I'll reserve my answer after I hear you guys and see what you guys think. So the Gospel of Mark says, I think I can get by if I had an amp with a good crunch with just some kind of overdrive or boost and a delay. I think also it depends what kind of amp you're playing, what kind of sound you're after. Obviously, it's a lot easier to get a good sound with not that many pedals if you're playing, let's say, blues or something like that, or maybe jazz. But yeah, that's definitely having some channel switching on your amplifiers would help you eliminate a couple of pedals for sure. Bruce says, I only own two pedals. He's got a Boss DS1 and a Kingwa. Use Ampero Katana Mark II and a Monoprice 15-watt tube amp these days. Covers all the bases. So, Bruce, I have a question for you regarding the Monoprice 15-watt tube amp, because I've been trying to get my hands on one. I wanted to actually review that amplifier because a lot of people claim it really sounds good and it's not very expensive. So give me your thoughts on that amp. what do you use it for exactly? And did you replace another amp with that amp, or did you not have a tube amp to begin with and just went straight to that? Ed says it's the first live show he's caught in a while. Where you been, Ed? You been busy? Yeah, man, me too. Richard says, do you need more than one kind of an amp? Vox, Fender, Marshall, tube, or silicon? Well, you're asking the wrong guy for that because I do think you need more than one amp. But a lot of people don't. They get by with one. The tricky part is to pick the right one that gives you the most flexibility. Alan, my internet is super fast sometimes, but it's not consistent. I actually have my modem and internet router hooked up to a switch that automatically shuts off and reboots like in the middle of the night while everybody's asleep so that I can assume that when we wake up in the morning, everything's reset and we should have fast internet, but it's not always the case. I'm gonna have to call the people at Bell and give them some crap because I pay a lot of money for the internet and it's just not consistent and it's supposed to be. So, you know, they always claim it's a problem on your end, but I don't buy that. Hey, Kim's Workshop, how are you doing, man? What are you working on in your workshop? Anything new? Uh, the Cal's saying, I'm looking for an ambient reverb. Any suggestions? I heard Jet Revelation 2. Well, if you want the cream of the crop, you're going to probably be very happy with a Strymon uh, reverb, but they're very expensive. In my opinion, there's a lot of other alternatives. Also, you can maybe look at the TC Electronic. The one I have on my board is the Hall of Fame 2, which has some pretty nice sounding reverbs, and it has the ability to add reverbs through their. They have this technology on their pedals. It's called I forget what it's called. It's basically you can go on their website. You can download tone print. That's what it's called. Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a second. You can download sounds directly from their website, and you can actually beam it into your pedal with your phone. Believe it or not, you just have to hold your phone up against your pickups when you're plugged into your pedal, and it actually loads it in there. I don't know. It's wizardry to me, black magic, voodoo, but it works, and they have some nice tone prints there. So you never run out of sound ideas, and it's not that expensive. So that's another option. That's what I'm using anyways for now. Rich says he only uses chorus and distortion pedals. And Jack Collins says, I have a box 30 and that's all I need. So a lot of you have found workarounds. Hey, Cushman. Nice to see you in the house. Don't worry about being late. It's all good. Alan says, no pedals at all. Only the foot switch for my amp. Nice, Alan. So remind me once again, Alan, what amp are you rocking to be able to get all of your sounds directly from your amplifier like that? Jack says he's got a Vox and that's it. That's all he needs. He's found his sound. Isn't it great when you actually find the sound that you want and you're like your search is over, but is it really over? You know, I always feel that you know, you always have that wandering eye, no matter what you have. At least I do. Kim says if you're playing disco, you need a flanger, a chorus, delay, reverb, overdrive, and a compressor. I totally agree. And the compressor is very important in that lineup. And then he says if you play rock and roll, then the overdrive will do the job. Yeah, but it's also nice to have a little bit of reverb sometimes, just to give a little bit more depth to the sounds. And I totally agree with what Vox Guitars Raw Rock. I can't speak this morning. He says, depends. The amp gives me my baseline sound and the pedals flavor to taste, depending on what I'm going for. I also only own two pedals, EQ and a Bad Monkey. So I agree with you, Vox. I think I think overall pedals should be used to flavor the sound that you're getting from your guitar and amplifier. I think that's the key. It's not to overdo it with the effects. I think that's a rookie mistake. A lot of new guitar players, they get excited when they get a new guitar and pedals, and all of a sudden, they're putting the effects up all the way in the mix, and it sounds like mud, and it's hard to control your amplifier, and you're getting feedback and all kinds of weird sounds and noise also, right? If your signal chain is not clean, you're getting additional noise. And that to me is like something that you have to learn, I guess, the hard way. And I think we all did that at the beginning. Um, you know, but eventually you understand that less is more, and really it's just the subtleties of adding the effects just to boost what you already have there, or to accentuate some frequencies. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't appreciate an EQ pedal, for example, and I think an EQ pedal is like a must-have on any pedal board, because it really allows you to sculpt the sound any way you want. And a good EQ pedal will do that. Actually, any EQ pedal will do that. It doesn't have to be a good EQ pedal, but definitely have an EQ pedal on your board, especially if you're playing loud. And if you're playing loud right now and you're playing in a band mix, that probably means your frequencies that you're working with are overlapping. You're either, stepping on the frequencies of the bassist or the keyboardist or the singer. And, a guitar is a very mid-focused instrument, and that's where we like to live, in those frequencies. And dialing back the other frequencies with an EQ pedal allow you to cut through the mix a lot easier without having to turn up your volume, because then you get into this volume tug of war with the other members of the band, right? Everybody needs to go a little bit louder and a little bit louder, and before you know it, it's like blistering loud, and it's very hard to control the sound. So if a member of your band doesn't have an EQ pedal on their board, give them the stink eye, and maybe pull them over and talk to them and say, come over here. I want to just discuss something with you. So, hey, good morning, Wayne. Nice to see you, man. Jasmine, good morning as well. What are the best PAFs you ever played? I think I've said this before. I don't have an unlimited budget, so I don't necessarily go out looking for the authentic PAFs that they're going for, $1,000. Um, I'm sure I'd love to try those, but I don't have that kind of a budget. So, I get winders, and I've tried a lot of pickups. As far as PAFs, the ones that I love that I have in my collection are from Monty's Guitar in London. And you can reach out to them. You can go to their website, and they have, they don't have a ton of. Here, let me pull it up on the internet. They don't have a ton of pickups, but the one that I have, that I that I purchased, um, are amazing. I really like them. So here, I'll show you what they look like on my screen. So it's this one here. So you can go in and look at their pickups. They have quite a few, right? You go pickups by type, go to humbucker, and the ones I have, if they're still here, do they still have them? Yeah, they're these right over here. So they're called just standard PAF humbucker pickups. So they're not cheap. You can see that they're pretty expensive. They do offer options: open back, cream, zebra, nickel, raw nickel. I go for the raw nickel all the time. I just love raw nickel. Um, and they're pretty authentic. Matt builds really great sounding pickups. You can read the reviews here. They were in Vintage Guitar, and I think my review is there too at some point. If you go into, it's listed there. So I'm listed there somewhere as well. You can check out my review. I also have the review on my website. But these are great, great sounding PAF style pickups. I would pick up another set in a heartbeat. No pun intended. They really do sound great. So I hope that answers your question. The Gospel of Mark says, my internet in Maryland has sucked ever since the pandemic started. I think that's because there's a lot more people online right now. Everybody's online, everybody's doing video, everybody's trying to do video conferencing. And everybody, if you're on let's say a trunk, or I guess they call it a trunk or a stem or whatever, a part of your internet connection that is connected to other homes, you end up sharing the bandwidth and it goes down. So I think that could be it. Paul says, I had two pedals stuck in USPS for nearly 2 months, only 3 days after the head of the the UPS was put on the carpet with the US Senate. My pedals are now at my local post office. Interesting coincidence. Interesting. Well, you know what, Paul, I appreciate your patience. Why? Because I had the same issue. Um, what really pisses me off, and I'm gonna vent here a little bit. Hopefully you guys could just bear with me. You know, I order stuff on Amazon. Okay, a lot of people don't agree with ordering off Amazon because we know why, right? Jeff Bezos, the head of Amazon, is a multi-billionaire. He makes like 20 billion extra dollars in a quarter, and people feel that they're just too big, right? But I like the fact of being able to order stuff online, especially during COVID, and to get the stuff quick, right? So I'm a member of Amazon Prime, which means that technically you should be able to get your package within 2 days if you're paying the extra money for a membership. So I am doing that, and I ordered something for my son, okay? And I ordered this last week, and it was supposed to arrive in a couple of days, and it didn't, right? So I ordered it with Prime, and I was supposed to get it in 2 days. 2 days later, I get a notification that the package is delayed. Okay, the package is delayed. So I'm patient. I figured one more day. Well, another day goes by and I get another notification saying that the package is delayed again. So I figure one more day. So now I finally get a notification saying the package is out and it's arriving by Canada Post and it should be here by Thursday. So why am I paying Prime? Why am I paying a Prime membership? And the worst thing is you can't really complain, right? You're getting your product. If you're not happy, you return it. But like, who are you going to complain to? So I feel that it's a scam because primarily you're paying a Prime membership. That means you're paying an extra $100 a year. All of the products that ship via Prime are all inflated. You'll notice that you won't really be able to find any product there under like $20, right? That you'll be able to get with a Prime membership. So they're clipping you the $100 a year to have a Prime membership. They're gonna charge you more for the item you order anyways, right? And then you don't necessarily end up getting it quicker. So, I feel that's not right. That you should be compensated if that happens or something. I think just for the heck of it, when I get that item, I'm gonna ship it back. I'm not gonna keep it. You know what? I mean, unfortunately, the thing is, doing that, most of the time you're hurting the seller. You're not hurting Amazon because Amazon doesn't really care, right? but the seller, unfortunately, now is going to have to get the product back, and so I don't know. I don't know if that's the best way of handling it. It's just it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know if any of you are members of Amazon Prime. So, but long story short, Paul, I sympathize with you. I have a couple of other things coming in the mail, and basically, I got a couple of guitars coming that I want to review for you guys. There should be at least 2 guitars on the way. There's also an interesting item that I want to share with you guys as well. It's a surprise. I'm not going to talk about that for now, but it has to do with guitar mods. Actually, 2 products that have to do with guitar mods that I think you guys are going to like. And I also have a Demon tube screamer that I ordered, and I'm sure Paul will know what I'm talking about here. The Demon brand, they have a tube screamer branded pedal. It's about 27 bucks US that I ordered on eBay, and it's supposed to emulate the TS-808 and TS-9 sounds. But I figured I sold off a bunch of my older, like, cheap pedals, but I felt like I still needed that kind of tube screamer boost that it comes in handy. So I decided to order that one, and they're not very expensive. You can go on Amazon. You can also probably get them on, I know you can get them on eBay. You can probably get them on Amazon too. Not that expensive. The other thing about, yeah, Vox Guitars Rock says do a speed test on the internet. I did that. And we're paying for 120 BS, but testing resulted in 50. Turns out Congeco throttles your connection after a certain amount of usage. That sucks, man. Yeah, that sucks. You know what? We're getting clipped so hard here in Canada with internet. We really pay a huge premium. And because the big companies are all in cahoots, they all basically stabilize their prices according to each other's, like they agree on these things, right? And there's nobody that can break into the market and offer lower internet because it's protected by the CRTC, which I don't know why we still have that organization, but basically the CRTC controls other companies coming into the Canadian market, and it's a sham because we're all paying so much for internet. I mean, it's incredible. Especially if you have kids and they all have cell phones, you have to go with an unlimited package today because everything's streaming. You got Netflix, you got cell phones, you got video conferencing and all that kind of stuff, and they just clip you. It's really crazy. In Europe, the internet is peanuts. It really is. You'd be flabbergasted if you find out how inexpensive it is. But they're like 20 years ahead of us in terms of like being connected to cell phones and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully eventually it'll come down, but yeah, it's too expensive. The Strymons run for like $300. Yeah, that's right. They're super expensive. That's why I suggest maybe going for the TC Electronic pedals instead. Internet providers were in no way prepared for all the increased traffic in the last 6 months. They probably weren't, but they're probably laughing all the way to the bank, James, in my opinion. They should be offering rebates right now just to help people out instead of pumping them up. What my favorite thing that I love so much is when you call, say, your service provider, Bell or whoever you're with, and you complain that things are too expensive and you want to cancel your services. All of a sudden, they have all kinds of deals that pop out of nowhere. You know, till then, nobody calls you saying, hey, maybe you want to take advantage of a discount. But as soon as you threaten to leave, all of a sudden, lo and behold, there's all kinds of discounts that they can offer you and credits and all that kind of stuff. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But I highly recommend to you guys, like I'd say 3 months, call them and tell them you want to cancel your service. And you're going to keep on getting deals. And you know what? If they can't come through, cancel it anyways. Who needs them? What else here? Let's get back to the topic at hand. Good amps definitely eliminate the need for some pedals. My Fender Deluxe gives me amazing reverb and cleans. My Friedman gives me the crunch and or high gain. Which Friedman do you have? I don't know if I saw a picture of one of your Friedman amps. I don't remember. But which one are you rocking right now? Gospel of Mark. The only issue I had with Monoprice was the cheap, noisy, unbranded tubes. Put a pair of old JJs. The amp is actually killer now. Replaced a PV Classic 30. Interesting, man. I think I still would try and get my hands on one just to see, just for fun. Not that I need another amp, but why not? Maybe I need another amp. Alan says his Vox VT40 effects are all he needs. James says a friend of his did the same with his Monoprice. Sounds great now. So I guess the crappy tubes are never good, right? I guess they have to cut corners somewhere. I'm wondering how long these inexpensive amps will last before they crap out, you know? But I guess for home use, it's fine. So I also wanted to ask before I forget, anybody have a new guitar day or a new amp day or something? Because we need to celebrate. the last guitars I got, I showed you guys already. I got my 12 string, which is right there. You see it there. And I got this guy, which I already modded, of course. Guess what I modded, guys? Guess whoever guesses what I modded on this guitar first wins the prize. Fat Philosopher will probably guess. Um, so that's what I got recently. I didn't get anything else. I'm actually rocking this guitar because it's so freaking light. This is the Van Goya guitar that I reviewed from Amazon, and I obviously removed the I removed the ugly decal. I don't know. I didn't like it, so I took it off. I also took it off because I lightly sanded back the neck, and what I did was just made it smoother because it was a little bit rough. Made it smoother, and I applied tongue true oil, which is a gunstock kind of penetrating oil that hardens. So I applied that, and I applied some carnauba wax. So that's kind of the finish that you get when you buy a Music Man. Very light finish, and it's not sticky or anything like that, but it definitely made the neck way more comfortable. And of course, because I applied it everywhere, I had to like sand down the front, which of course the logo is just a silk screen. It's not under the finish or anything like that. So it came off easily, and I didn't really care. So I just took it off. And so Rich wins the prize. Well, a Fat Philosopher too. I don't know who answered first. I guess it was or Vox Guitars Rock, I think, was quicker on the draw. Yeah, the pickups. So I basically got rid of the pickups. I had a set of pickups from a Strat, just a standard Strat. I put those in. Definitely a better tonal improvement, like 100%. So now it sounds nice, and that's about it, man. That's all I did. And of course the springs. I just modified the springs so they wouldn't vibrate so much. What I'm learning is that I think the reason why I really like this guitar, other than the fact that it's super light, is the radius. I don't know if you guys have these things here. If you don't, you should get them. You can get these on eBay. You can get them on StewMac, but you're gonna pay like triple the price. So get them on eBay. These are little radius gauges. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these, but the way they work is that every one of them has a different radius here, and it tells you what it is. Like this one is 7.25, and you basically put this on your fretboard, obviously when you don't have strings, or you have to slip it underneath the strings, and you can see what radius your fretboard is. Well, lo and behold, this one seems to be like an 11-inch radius. And I think that's why I like this neck so much. Because usually on my Strats, I don't have an 11-inch radius at all. Usually it goes from the 7-inch radius, 7.5 on the more of the vintage Strats that I have, 9, sometimes 10, but never really 11. And I really like the 11. It just makes it so easy to play. I can do the squeals and everything with the tip of my, I don't know. And also, I also changed the strings. Now I've been using Ernie Ball strings for a long time, and I usually use the Slinkies or the hybrid Slinkies, but I decided to try 9.5s because to me 10s were too heavy, 9s were a little bit too thin, so I figured they have the 9.5 gauge strings now. So I put on a set of Diodario 9.5-inch strings, and I like them. So I might consider switching over from Ernie Ball to Diodarios, and just go with the 9.5s and maybe switch those on my other guitars as well. I mean, it's a very cheap guitar, and most people would laugh at me because I have like, you know, a bunch of Gibsons and a Sir, and it costs like thousands more. But the neck, just I like the neck. So I'm not necessarily a guitar snob. I just like what I like, and I'll eventually go back to other guitars, but I'm enjoying this one for now. Strat5150 says, if you're in the Everything Guitar Facebook group, I posted pictures there. I'm not a member of that group. Let me write that down. I'm a member of a bunch of groups, but not that one. I'll consider joining that one. You know what, guys? You know, Strat5150 says, I wish I could paste a picture in here. I'm going to eventually, because, you know, like, you guys, there's about 35, 40 people that are constant viewers of my live shows. And I think it would be really cool if I can organize this somehow, to use Zoom and to set up like a private little Zoom event where we can actually all join in. I can post a link somewhere. We can all join in and we can basically chit chat and share the platform. And we can, you know, you don't necessarily just have to listen to me. We can actually talk, and you guys can show me your guitars as well. I think that would be really cool. I just don't know how I would get the logistics going, because I have to post a link somewhere where you guys would have access. So I would maybe have to make a video, describe what I'm doing there, and post the link within the comments of that video, and then book a time when we can actually like maybe on a Sunday like this, and just see if it'll work. But I've never hosted an event with Zoom before, so I don't know if people, you know, if we would have issues doing it that way. But I'm for it, guys. If you guys are interested, I'd love to try it. What do you guys think? Give me a thumbs up if you think that's a good idea. Hey, Sean, nice to see you, buddy. Sean the bassist is in the house. I caught your tests yesterday. You were doing a live stream test with the padded pedal room. You got the live aspect going, I guess. So I guess we'll be able to see a live live shows from your side soon. Henry wants to know about the semi hollow body guitar behind me. You're talking about this guy, I think, right? Okay. Sure, I've shown that one before, but I don't mind showing it to you again. Let me grab that. Just give me a sec. Okay, so I guess you're talking about this guy. So this is the PRS. This is a PRS SC model, and it's the Zack Myers PRS model. It's a great guitar. I picked up used. I've shown this one before. I just think it's amazing for the money I paid it. Mint condition. You can see the back of the guitar has tummy tuck there. It's not a bolt-on neck. It's actually a set neck and has that nice carve. It's not extremely heavy. It's got the wraparound bridge, one piece, so it doesn't have a bridge and it's in a tail piece. It only has the bridge here. I did change the pickups on this. I have a set of pickups from who do I have there? I have pickups from Sanford Magnetics, which is a Canadian pickup winder. He makes some great stuff as well. If ever you want to pick up some nice pickups and you're in Canada, check him out. I did a full review on this, so if you go to my videos, you'll definitely see that. I use this very often. I probably play this guitar more than my US made PRS. I changed the knobs. The knobs are black now. They were clear plastic. They looked like stripper heels, which I didn't like. So I figured I'd change them to the black knobs, which I think look nicer. By the way, if ever you need knobs for a PRS, good luck because you're going to be gouged like crazy. I think PRS charges like $50 or $60 for a set of knobs. Other than that, I didn't change anything. The tuners are sort of the vintage style tuners that I like very much. And the neck is actually slightly sanded, but it comes like that. I didn't do that. It's just like a little bit matte, but it just plays really, really nicely. And the actual neck is a little bit more on the bulky side. It's a little bit fatter. Plays great. It needs to I need to change the strings on this, but other than that, I mean, it's a wonderful guitar. They're going for over $1,000 now. The SE models are getting more expensive, and this is an older version because it has the big SE logo here. The newer ones are nicer because they actually have Paul Reed Smith written there, a lot more like the expensive US made ones. So you know, I'd be happier to have that instead of the SE here, but unfortunately that's what it is. And this one comes in a couple of different finishes, but I just love it. Look at the flame. Look at the color. It's nice and deep. It's a beautiful guitar. Beautiful. One of my favorites. Jack says right now he's in seller's remorse. He sold his Strat on Friday. That's a sad day, Jack. Why did you sell your Strat, man? Are you saving up for something else or you just need the cash? Jack says, I'm in on that deal too, Tony. Oh, sorry, I don't follow. What deal are you talking about? Maybe I missed the thread here of the conversation. Let me back up a little bit. Okay, so Sean says he just got a new Fender Dimension V-Bass. So I'm sure you like the sound of that V-Bass, Sean. I know you have a couple of basses in the house. You have a little addiction going there yourself, I'm sure. So it's pretty cool that you're able to get some different sounds out of the V-Bass. I'm not really familiar with V-Basses that much. I'm not a bass player, so I don't really know. I know the standard P-Bass and the standard Jazz Bass from Fender and a couple of other models, but I don't really follow all of the models when it comes to basses. Joe says, I have a Gordon Smith GS2 with dual humbuckers delivered from the UK. Hey, congratulations, Joe. How do you like it so far, man? Give us some feedback on that guitar. Gospel of Mark has, so that he, what the amplifier he was talking about when he mentioned Friedman was the Runt 20. How do you like the Runt? A lot of people feel that it's limited in a certain sense because it has a little bit too much gain. I like the Dirty Shirley myself. I know they came out with a Dirty Shirley twin sister, which is basically a 2-channel Dirty Shirley, but I like the simplicity of the 1-channel. I heard a couple of sound demos on the 2-channel Dirty Shirley, and it's cool, but I don't know if it's just too much. I like the look also of the 1 row of knobs instead of the 2. I can get most sounds I need from the amp. And, you know, if I need to kick it a little harder, a couple of little pedals will do the trick. So I don't know if I want to spend more money getting another one. I really like this one. It's going to take a lot for me to sell the Friedman. It really sounds great in my opinion. It's got that vintage sound, but it's a little bit more of a recorded vintage sound as opposed to a raw vintage sound that you would get, say, from a Marshall in your room, where it's, if anybody has actually played like old Marshalls, you'll know what I'm talking about. You have to really crank them to get the gain to come through, and it really becomes like a kick in the chest almost, because it really has to be loud, and it's hard to control the guitar at that point. While the Friedman will give you that recorded Marshall sound at a much lower volume. It has a really good master volume, and basically you can get that nice recorded sound. It's got a lot of bottom end, and if you crank it, it sounds glorious. So I don't think I'm ever going to sell that amplifier. What I have now keeps me happy, guys. So, you know, it's going to take a lot to kick one of these amps out of the door. Alan says he's got a new Court limited edition KX16 in white pearl burst. White pearl burst. Set neck, EMG retroactive pickups, tusk nut, and a Proton bridge. What is pearl? What is that? Pearl burst. Let me check that out. I'm curious. You got my curiosity now. KX16. Let me just pull that up here. See if I can find it. Pearl burst. Oh yeah, I see it. That's pretty cool, man. Let's see here. So let me just share my screen so others can see that. I hope I got the right one. So is it this one on this side here? Is that what they consider pearl burst? It looks like there's EMGs on it as well. What does the back look like? Let's have a look here. Oops. Interesting. So you have it's active. You can see there's the active battery compartment for the pickups there. It looks like the neck is set, and it's got string through. So I guess you get additional sustain out of that as well. That's pretty nice, man. Pretty sweet. Congratulations, man. I hope you like it. Nice guitar, man. Strat5150 says he's posted in the PRS owners group for the reactions on the Relic since I had never seen a PRS factory Relic. I never saw one either. I gotta check that out. Where did you see the pictures on that? I'd love to see what that looks like. There's something sacrilege about a Relic PRS, however. But are you talking about the Silver Sky, or are you talking about like one of these style guitars? Because I don't see these guitars as being relic unless they're very authentically relic, where they just look old but not necessarily beat up. I'd love to see that. They were all calling it a fake. Then a tech from PRS commented it's real, and it was a fun one to make. So is that going to be like a run, or is this a test, or they're just testing the waters to see what people think? Interesting. So the Gospel of Mark is in for the live Zoom thing. All right, cool. Henry's from Paris. Hey, Henry. How are things in Paris, man? Are things under control with the COVID there? Jack is also interested, I think, in the Zoom meeting thing. Try 5150 says, maybe I will actually upload my first video. Do it, man. I'd love to see it. And Strat 5150, Stuart Robertson in Argyle, Texas, if anyone wants to connect via Facebook. I'm going to work on that Zoom idea, guys. I'm going to try to make it happen. I'm sure it's not that difficult. And if it just goes belly up and it doesn't work, well, we give it a shot, right? I think you can have up to 100 people on a Zoom meeting. And then maybe I can record that and upload it to the channel for others to I think that would be a lot more fun than just me babbling for an hour. What do you think? What do you guys think? Paul's asking me if I've checked out the Tagima guitars from Brazil, around $200 US. Fenderish, but playable out of the box, no neck or fret issues. Setting up a Canadian branch soon. I have never heard of that brand, so I'm gonna check that out. Let me write that down. Tagima, out of Brazil. Let me do a quick Google search on that. I need to actually get more stands for my guitars, guys, because I don't have enough. I keep buying more because it's cheaper than buying a. I keep buying more of them because it's cheaper than buying cases, but I don't know. I'm running out of room here, so let's check out this Tagima guitar that is being mentioned here. Tagima. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. All right, so let's have a look, and here I'll share it with you guys. Tagima. All right, so limited edition Mellow Junior. Interesting, interesting. So it looks like a almost like a Music Man. Let's have a quick look see here. America's. Oops. Sorry, guys. So they have acoustics. Let's go straight to the electrics here. Brazil series, classic series. Okay, so this one, I mean, the headstock on this one looks a lot like what Friedman is doing. That shape, interesting. That one's not for me. That one's too much, too many strings. Then we have a Strat style one. This headstock reminds me a lot of the Washburn headstock. Not a huge fan of that, but looks like they have real mother of pearl inlays, and they have a really cool humbucker style, mini humbucker style in the bridge position there. Semi-hollow, nice. Strat style, Telecaster style. This is interesting. It's kind of a combination headstock between a Fender Telecaster and the body shape of a Fender guitar, like the Fade also. That's interesting. Never a big fan of the 3 pickup Telecaster style guitar. If I wanted 3 pickups, I just play a Strat, so I don't like that. Well, there's some interesting ones for sure. I like the one on the homepage, this guy right here, but it's a limited edition. Let's have a look at that. So you got a sparkle. I'm not crazy about the sparkle. I wonder if it's available in other colors. The headstock looks, like I said, a lot like the Friedman headstock there. I think the sparkle is a little bit too much, but that's just me. So there's colors, but there's nothing listed, so I don't know. Purple. I don't know about purple sparkle. Fat Philosopher would probably like that one. he's been urging me to get a purple Tele or something. So I don't know. What do you think, Fat Philosopher? Purple? Alan, I'm gonna try to make it happen, man. The Zoom thing. I'm gonna try and make it happen. You know what? I'm really disappointed because I had done a really nice interview with. Earlier, we were talking about what paths I feel are the best, and I mentioned Monty's guitars. I showed you the website there. I had a really great chat with Matt from Monty's Guitars, and it was over an hour and a half long, and I wanted to post it, and it was going so well. And then all of a sudden, there was lag happening and was getting choppy, and the volume, the vocal recording on his end was going haywire. And he's all the way in London, so I guess maybe his internet was, I don't know if it was his internet or my internet or whatever, but it wasn't usable. So, you know, he wasted his time with me, unfortunately. But Matt's a great guy, and he said he's going to do it again. So we're gonna record that soon, and I'll share that with you guys as well. He's got a lot of great insights on how he winds these great sounding pickups and all of that. So if you haven't already checked out his stuff, please do, because he's got some nice things there. Fat Philosopher says Shane of In the Blues had trouble with jerks on Zoom live streams. Need exclusive invites to the chat. I see what you mean. Because then everybody will come and sort of just be jerks about it. I see what you're talking about. Well, how the hell am I supposed to do that? That means I have to get you all on some kind of a mailing list. I wonder if we can do something like that. Maybe you guys can reach out to me if you're interested, and we can do that via, if you send me your email, and I'll add you to the list. Something like that. It's going to get complicated, but it would be really cool to add additional members as you go forward. I think you guys are really great, and you really have a lot of insight, and you always have great stuff to say, and you give me good ideas as well. So why not make it a group thing? Fat Philosopher says we love you babbling. You complete me. Fat Philosopher completes me. I don't know if you can block people. I think you can. Can't you block people from the chat? I'm going to do some research on that. I'm pretty sure you can. You can probably kick someone out of the meeting. So it's just a question of having a moderator there. Maybe one of you guys would volunteer to be a moderator, and we can police it. And if somebody's a jerk, we just kick them out. I'm going to work on it, man. I promise you guys I'm going to work on that, all right? Let me go back in some questions here. Best potentiometers for guitars. That's Daniel asking that question. Generally, I usually just use CTS or Borns. Alpha are a little bit cheaper. It depends on the taper that you're looking for. The difference, I mean, there's a couple of different things when it comes to pots. Some claim that they're 250 or 500, and when you measure them, there's always a variance. Okay, sometimes it's a little bit, sometimes it's a lot, depending on who's making the pots. So there's that. If you're very picky about that, then obviously there's the quality of the actual pot itself. Some of them tend to deteriorate a lot quicker, and then you get the sound happening, which is not good. And sometimes you can't even clean it out with electrical cleaner that well. So, but I find that the Borns have a nice feel to them because they're not as stiff, and the taper's pretty nice as well. So it doesn't go from like, you know, quiet, 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 full blast. It's got a nice taper. That's what I look for. But really, I mean, I usually stay away from the mini pots unless there's a physical reason why I can't go with full-size pots. I just feel that because I often change pickups and I'm heating them up often, the smaller pots tend to break down quicker due to the heat that's applied to them. And that's why I've actually in some of my guitars have chosen to stay away from the soldering iron altogether and just go with an insert where I can, like the obsidian wire insert that I did on one of my Gibson guitars, so I can pop in and pop out pickups without having to heat anything up. It's a little expensive, but in my opinion, it's worth it. Strat 5150 says, I just created an Addicted to Gear Facebook group. Look it up and request membership. It should be up now. Well, thanks for that. I'll check it out for sure. Can I be the first member? Addicted to Gear. All right, I'll take a look at that for sure. Henry says, living in a flat in Paris, which amp could you advise me? I'm currently playing on a Tokai LS136. Nice, man. My style is blues and classic 70s rock. Okay, so blues and rock, and you want something, I'm assuming that's not really loud. Is there any reason why you're not going with like a multi-effects unit as opposed to an amp if you're just playing at home? The only reason I'm asking is because you would have the ability to play with headphones. You would have the ability to have a lot more amps and effects at your disposal. I'm going to give you a suggestion, okay? If it's really an amp that you want, there's a lot of amps that you can get that would be great for that are low wattage, quiet amps. But I'm going to give you a suggestion for something else, okay? And this is very inexpensive. There's this guy right over here. I know it looks cheap, but it actually has pretty good sounds in it. It's the NUX. This is a multi-effects unit called the NUX MG300. I believe it's under 200 bucks, 250, less than that probably right now. And it looks cheap because it's made of plastic. But let me tell you, it's got some nice sounds in here. And the clean sounds and let's say the bluesy sounds are quite good. It's not going to be a fractal Axe-Fx or anything like that. It won't do that. But it's got a nice software interface that you can use. You can use it as a pass-through. So let's say you're recording something in GarageBand with, it has a little USB out in the back of it. And I'm going to do a full review of this, guys, for you guys shortly. It has a USB out here that you can plug into your laptop or computer and go right into GarageBand and use this as your interface to record all of your sounds. And it emulates different amps, different microphones. You can even put in your own IRs. It's got a whole bunch of effects built in. It's not unlimited. I mean, there's a certain limit to what it can do. But honestly, for the amount of money this costs, it kills. You also have the pedal, right? And the pedal could emulate like a volume pedal, a wah pedal. You can actually have this control the effects. So for example, how much delay you're using or reverb that you're using. It's a killer little pedal and I like it a lot. I've been using it for some recordings myself. And you know, if I was living in a condo or something like that, I'd probably go with that before I'd go with a little amplifier, just because it's cheaper and it has a lot more sounds available. So, you know, of course, you can go with a Fender Blues Junior, you know, for sure, but it depends how difficult your neighbors are. I would also suggest the brand new Jared James Nichols amp, which is right there. Whoop, almost fell. Right there, which is basically size of a Blues Junior, and you can bring it down to very low wattage, and you can get all of the glorious crunch and the really nice effects that you would need to play blues. It's not a digital amp; it's analog, and it does a lot of great classic rock tones. So that's another one you can have. Hey Randy, nice to see you, buddy. Running like crazy. I know how that is. Let me tell you. Michael says, can you please explain the 250K and 500K difference, other than the obvious, of course? Okay, well, I mean, if you're playing if you're playing a Gibson, which with humbuckers, or any other guitar with humbuckers, you typically want to go with 500K pots. If you're playing a Strat style or single coil setup, you're going to go with 250. The trouble comes when you're trying to play a guitar that's set up with SSH pickup. So you have two single coils and a humbucker. Because at that point, you have to switch between 250K and 500K. So there are some pots that are made to do that. Otherwise, you kind of have to find a happy medium and go with some pots that are kind of between 500 and 250. But typically, you want 500K pots for humbuckers, 250 for single coils. I don't know if that clarifies things. Joe says, I like the Nux wireless that I use in one room of the house. So are you referring to, do I have one here? I think you're referring to this guy. Is this what you're talking about? The Mighty Air? If it is, again, I got to do... Guys, I really have to apologize for not pumping out more videos. The reason I have all this stuff backed up right now is because I actually sold one of my computers. My Mac that I had purchased, my desktop that I use for my video editing, it was just so slow. And I decided to get rid of it, and I have to buy another one. But I haven't had the opportunity or the time to go shopping for a new one. And I need to really get a new one to be able to crank out my videos quicker. Right now I'm working off a little laptop, and it doesn't cut it in terms of just overall performance. So that's why the videos haven't been coming as quick. But I have videos lined up for all of this stuff, and the Mighty Air is one of them. And if this is the one you're talking about, it's pretty cool. I like it a lot, and I actually like it better when you're playing through headphones. It just sounds better. The little speakers that are integrated in here are really small. You can kind of see them. They're just like little tiny speakers. So you can't expect to get a huge sound out of it, but with the headphones, it does a really nice job. And the software interface is really cool as well. And it has a little wireless connector, this guy here, that you can use. You can plug it in there and you can plug into your guitar wirelessly. Um, Pretty nice. I mean, the entire setup is pretty sweet. If you just want to have something available to play, just like that, you know, without going too crazy with the sound or practice, it's a nice option. Also, it's really good because you can actually use it as a Bluetooth speaker. You can actually play music and stuff through it as well. So it works in many different ways. You're welcome, Henry. I hope I was able to help. Cable Cableahist. You should use Flonase for your allergies. I don't have allergies right now. Well, I don't have full-blown allergies, but yeah, I'm aware of Flonase. My son's on it right now. He's been suffering, poor guy, the last couple of days, and he's not doing very well. I just got itchy eyes and a little bit of itchy nose, but it's all good. Um, AZT3CA. How do you think current Japanese Tokais compare to the new Gibsons and the custom shop guitars, from build quality, wood, attention to detail, etc., etc.? This is something that comes up regularly on my chats. I'm a big fan of Tokai guitars, especially the Japanese ones. I feel that they're, you know, bang for the buck. You're getting really great quality. You know, Japanese craftsmanship has always been great. They don't cut corners on the Japanese models. You just have to be aware that there are knockoffs happening, especially if you're buying off eBay. A lot of times people will post Chinese versions or uh, versions made in other places that could be knockoffs. It's not difficult to make a knockoff of a Tokai. So you want to make sure that if you're buying these guitars, you are buying a Japanese version. They're typically very well made, and I have no problem. Honestly, guys, just yesterday, I was bitching, and I'm going to tell you why. I was playing this guitar, right? So I was recording something, and I was playing this guitar. It's a Gibson, right? Standard, standard series. It's a great guitar, but the tuners are weird. Like, some tuners are stiff, some tuners you have to actually turn a bunch of times to be able to get the same amount of spin on them. I don't know what the hell's going on. These are locking tuners. They're Grover tuners, and honestly, I don't understand it. Right? Why are they not all the same? So there's something funny happening there. And I had the nut replaced on this guitar because the standard nut that comes with the Gibsons are cut weird, and they cause a lot of tuning issues, especially on the G string and the D string, because those are the strings that have the most bend in them here. So I had a really nice bone nut cut. The guy did a beautiful job on it. It's set up properly, but it still has tuning stability issues, and I don't understand it, you know. And my Tokais don't have that, and I don't understand why you can get a Tokai to stay in tune and you can't get the Gibsons to do the same. And it's really frustrating because when you're recording something, sometimes I do demos, and you know, you always get those guys that say, hey, your guitar's out of tune or whatever. Yeah, it's out of tune. I can't help it. It's always out of tune. As soon as you strum some chords, it's out of tune. So it's really frustrating for me. And, you know, that's just one of the things where, you know, I like Gibson. I like their guitars. I like the Les Paul. I think it's great. But I don't know, the quality, there's something wrong. I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the neck, the angle of the headstock or something else, but it causes issues, and I'm not happy with it, right? You're spending so much money. I don't have that issue with my Tokai. So, you know, that goes a long way for me. I wouldn't hesitate buying another Tokai. I have the Hall of Fame reverb like yours. How do you connect that stereo? Do you need two amps? Yeah, you do. You need two amps, unless you're going through monitors or something like that. Strat 5150 membership question is best show on YouTube. Are you asking me what the best show on YouTube is? Is that your question, 5150? I can tell you what I like to watch. If I'm watching any kind of gear type reviews, anything with Phil X in it, I love. I love that guy. Um, what else? I mean, for reviews, it's kind of hard because some people have great reviews, some people don't. Brent Kidman has some really great pedal reviews. He's down and dirty. He just plays. Like he'll go in, he'll talk 2 minutes, he'll play the thing, and that's it, right? Yeah, I don't think he doesn't really go into too much detail about the pros and the cons and stuff like that. He's kind of very ambiguous in terms of whether he likes the pedals or not. He lets you decide. But you know, the thing is with him is that his stuff's all recorded really nicely. It's great, but it's very tricky because he can make stuff sound really good with the way he's recording it. And I think a lot of the stuff sounds very similar because of the way it's recorded. So, you know, there's that. But to get back to the Reverb Hall of Fame question, so uh, basically you need either two monitors. Uh, like let's say you're using an FR speaker system that's powered like the one I have there, like the head rush. If you have two of those guys, this is the one with the 8-inch speakers, by the way, you can set them up in stereo and you have a huge sound at that point. But it's not an amp, so you know it depends on how you're getting your sound. Like you still need to have something that's going to emulate the amp side of things, so you can tweak your sound before you go into those guys because they're relatively flat, right? But going back here, look, let me just show you my pedal board, okay, guys, just for a second. Here you go. I'm gonna lift it up. Let me try to get this in the camera for you guys. I gotta put this on a little box or something. Let me try this here. Let's do this so I can. It's heavy. Oh, it's still too short. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, let me back it up here. So this is my pedal board. Okay, this is what I'm using right now. This thing changes all the time. Right now, as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pedals. And this goes just to my initial question at the beginning of the show, you know, how many pedals do you need? So let me explain to you why I have these pedals here. Now I have maxed out pretty much the connections in my power supply. I'm using a Decibel 11 power supply, which is great, by the way. Very clean, no noise, and very reliable. It's underneath here. You can see it back there. Okay, so I'm using this pedal board from NuX. This is the NuX Bumblebee, and it's the large sized one because it allows me to get 2 tiers of pedals in there. Here, let me just lower the camera a little bit. See if I can do that without causing too much. All right, let's try that here. Let's see if this will work. Yeah, it's better. Let me move that over. All right, so now you can see it a little better, I hope. All righty, good. So the reason why I have these pedals, and these change all the time. They rarely stay the way they are on the pedal board. And right now what I'm using this for is just to add some flavor to what I'm getting with my amps. and I'm trying a couple of new things. So the signal chain is this way. So it's going this way, right? And then it's going this way. Sorry, this way, okay? So TC Electronics Polytune, this is the one with the buffer in it. And the reason I bought it is because it's a great pedal, mostly because it has a buffer already in it. It saves me an additional spot on my pedal board. So that's the first thing, because you need a tuner. This pedal is a sort of a clone of a Screddy Lunar Lander. And it's something that I actually made, and it's a combination pedal. It's actually between an overdrive and a fuzz. It can get to the beginning of fuzz territory, and it can give you some drive. It's an interesting pedal because it does give you that unique flavor. This pedal here I just picked up recently and I did a review on. This is the Plexi M distortion pedal. Very inexpensive pedal. And I like it because it's small and it doesn't take a whole lot of room. Is it the best distortion pedal that I have? Not really, but if you want to get that plexi tone from a clean amp, you can do it with this pedal quite nicely. This pedal here is the Joyo 5-band EQ, kind of a clone of the MXR pedal. I purchased this one because it's cheap. Eventually I'll probably get the MXR. I like it because it also has lights on it, so when you're playing you can actually see what the settings are very easily. It hasn't crapped out on me yet, so I like it, and it's probably going to stay till it craps out. I'm using these little thin Donner cables that are extra thin, try and keep things tight on my board. I think they're fragile, however, so I prefer to go with these style cables. They take a bit more room, but they're more solid. So from there, I go then into my EP booster. My EP booster is one of the pedals that's been on my board the longest. It just stays there all the time. It fattens up everything, and you can dial it all the way back and just turn it on, and it just makes the sound fatter. Or you can actually use it as a boost if you want to turn it up. Let's say if you want to use it for when you're going into a solo, you can just use it as a boost, a clean boost. I just turn it off and use it, just the color of the sound. It just makes everything sound better. So this goes into the front of the amplifier. Basically these pedals here go into the front of the amplifier. These pedals here all go into the effects loop. Okay, so it's a 4-cable method. So basically one cable goes into here, one cable comes out of here, goes into the front of the amp. Then we have another 2 cables, one on the in, one on the out, that go into the effects loop of the amplifier. So it's 4 cables that you need to do this. So here I have the Hall of Fame reverb, which I use. Mostly I use it on a plate reverb, and I don't pump it up too high. I just kind of leave it there. I leave it there just to add a little bit more depth to the sound. This pedal is rarely on my board unless I'm playing Van Halen. And it's a micro flanger. It's a little less expensive than the full-blown flanger that they have, but it does a nice job. I just put it on there just for giggles. I don't usually keep that on there. And this is a pedal that I got recently, which is called the Virtual Sound H2O, and it's basically a combination amplifier. It's a chorus and echo pedal in one. So it's like, the reason I put this one on my board is because with one pedal, I can actually have 2 different sounds. I previously had the Corona chorus pedal from TC Electronics, which I'm probably going to sell. Just because, I mean, it's okay, it's nice, but I don't use chorus all that much. I would prefer to remove this pedal and put in a good quality compressor. I usually have a compressor on my board. Okay, so the chorus is not a must. The echo, I usually have some kind of a delay pedal on my board. So I figured this one for the time being allows me to do both. Okay, so that's what I have. But normally it's EQ, a drive pedal, Not necessarily always a high gain pedal. Sometimes it's just a low gain, like a tube screamer type pedal. So I definitely will have one of those. Definitely will have the EQ pedal. This guy stays on the board all the time. Reverb is always there. Most of the time, it's a like I said, it's going to be a compression pedal and a delay. Chorus is optional. I don't really need chorus unless I'm playing something specific. So this pedal would probably not be here. This pedal would not be here. And this one will probably be switched over to a lower gain type pedal. And that's basically what I'm rocking. Um, and all of the sounds are pretty subtle. They're just really boost or just sculpting the sound. These two are for sculpting. The actual overdrive pedal, if it's just an overdrive, is also just for like sculpting the sound a little bit more. Reverb and delay just to fatten things up. So that's what I'm rocking for now, guys. And if you ask me to show you this next week, it'll be different. So just so you know. So I hope that helps. Let me just fix this up again. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to make you guys dizzy or anything, but there we go. Is that good? All right. Excuse me. All right. So those Bumblebee pedals boards run for 500 in Japan? Really? Wow, man. I didn't know that. Dude, you can get them for not that expensive on Amazon. Maybe you should just ask a friend. I wouldn't pay $500 for that. I wouldn't pay $500 for any pedal board. AZT3CA says, I've had a 2019 Les Paul Custom 37.99 euros and a 2019 US 60s standard at 2,199 euros. And to my perception, the Tokai is superior in every aspect. You're not the first one to say that, man. I'm not surprised at all. Brett Kidman cannot control his enthusiasm by the ones he's thrilled about. Killer. I bought the Shift Time A Plus Cab Zone LT 100 USD. It turns your combo single speaker into a stack. And how does it do that? It's just like an emulation. Just makes it sound bigger. Rich says, I have 3 made in Japan Ibis, and they are my favorite guitar to play. Great quality. Tony, Paul says, Tokai China makes some of the Gibson style Harley Benton, but their own brands is just a few bucks more and lots of choice. The thing is, you can't really get them that easily in Canada. The NAMM Best of Show Practice Amp, the Killer Positive Grid, is on sale worldwide dealers for $249 USD. Every review gave it a 10 out of 10. A few retired their Boss Katana. You know, I've been trying to get my hands on one of those guys. The Positive Grid stuff looks good. It really does. $249 is a reasonable price to pay. And I'm sure it's great for a practice amp. I'm not surprised that, people like it so much. It's just it's so convenient. Cool Tunes made easy. Hi, man. You were driving. Drive safe, brother. Strat 5150. Should I make it allowable to sell trade gear? Thoughts? I don't know, man. Why not? How's the Black Star? Still excited about it. Waiting on the review. Yeah, man. Sorry. I know. I'm waiting to. Oh, shit. I just mentioned earlier why the reviews weren't coming quicker. You probably didn't get that part, but it's a hardware thing. I'm upgrading some hardware, and it's just slowing me down. But yeah, I like the amplifier for sure. I was just playing it yesterday. I play it all the time. What happened to your semi kit you put together and reset the neck? I didn't reset the neck. I did not do that. Basically, what I did was I sent it back to the place I bought it from, and I just asked them to take a look and to see if it was normal that there were a couple of issues with the kit. One being, the neck, even though it was set in properly, turned out not to be right, even though they're supposed to be CNC machines. And it's not their fault. It's kind of my fault because I should have actually checked that before gluing it in. But I set in the neck and everything seemed to be aligned properly at the neck joint itself. So I assumed, and you should never assume, that it was okay. And also I had to enlarge the pickup cavities to fit in a standard sized humbucker, which I shouldn't have to do. That's kind of weird. And so I sent it back to the guy and I said, here, look, take a look at it. And, he said he was going to take a look and send me another kit. So if the kit I get is better, I'll let you know. It'll be another project. I'm just pissed because I spent so much time on putting that kit together, and it was coming along really nicely. But you know what they say: you do it the second time, you learn from your mistakes. So the next one should be better, hopefully. So Strat 5150 says, "I want you to join so I can see some pics of your guitars. I know you have some cool rigs." Tokai cheap ones online in Canada. Go to Music Express Canada. My US friends buy them there. Yeah, Music Express Canada is not a bad place, except I had purchased a Tokai from them, which was a Chinese Tokai. It was a 335 style Tokai. I knew it was from China. I purchased it anyways. The guitar had issues. There was finish flaws. There was chipped paint. There was a lot of things I didn't like, and it looked like it was used. So I don't know if I'd buy it again from them, but maybe I just got unlucky. Fat Philosopher says he searched addicted to gear in Facebook groups and I got addicted to meth as one of the top suggestions. I guess there's a lot of people addicted to meth than there is addicted to gear, in my opinion. I don't know. So who's going to be the moderator of this channel on Facebook, of this group? Cool Tunes Made Easy says, Tony Tokai semi-hollow or PRS semi-hollow, your thoughts? If you're going for a Japanese Tokai, I'm sure they're going to be great. PRS semi-hollows are great too. That's the one I have there. This one is probably going to be less expensive on the used market anyways. Tokai semi-hollows on the used market really are not cheap. You're going to spend a lot of money. I always have my eyes open for one. I wouldn't hesitate buying one. I just wish Tokai would come up with a semi-hollow 335 model with the block inlays like the older style Gibsons had. I'd buy one in a heartbeat. I really like those. Not the big bulky ones, but the classic ones. I will for now. If you want to take it over later, you can. You know what? I don't mind you running it for now. I have a couple of other groups that I manage specifically for Canada. Slightly forward neck angle on the Harley Benton Fusion, black. Are you asking me or are you telling me? Not sure. There was a couple of there was somebody who was asking me the other day how you stay inspired when you're in a rut, when you're practicing, and I thought about that a little bit over the next couple of days. I just mulled it over, and I'm like, yeah, how do you stay inspired? For me, I think it's a lot of it's just new challenges. I think if something's complicated in your life and takes up a lot of your time, and sometimes you feel frustrated because you don't have enough time to practice, you could feel like you're chasing your tail and you're not seeing the advantages, you're not seeing the improvements. Recording yourself when you're practicing is huge, and I always recommend that to anyone learning how to play guitar. And also just breaking things down, like let's say you're trying to learn that new solo, that new song, or whatever. Sometimes it's overwhelming. Like if you want to learn Eruption, for example, which I'd love to do. I'm actually, at my age, I've never actually taken the time to learn it, and I think I want to actually take some time to learn that solo because Van Halen was such an inspiration for me. I owe it to him to at least learn that solo. So if you're taking a song like that, for example, it could be overwhelming, right? Because there's a lot of technique involved, there's speed involved, you have to play clean, and there's certain techniques that are very eddy that you have to develop, and that doesn't happen overnight or automatically. So take it and break it down. Like break it down into the beginning section, break the whole thing down into 4 or 5 sections. Practice those sections till it's second nature. You got the muscle memory going, and then move on to the next section. Play slow and record yourself. Because if you record yourself, you're definitely going to see the improvements over time. And it takes time. A lot of people do the opposite. They get frustrated and they just take their guitars, put them down, don't play for a week or two, and then come back to it later, and it's worse because then your fingers are all like they're not nimble anymore. You forgot what you learned or what you were trying to learn, and you're starting over again, and that just adds to the anxiety and to the frustration. So that's just some advice I wanted to give specifically for people learning how to play that are feeling frustrated. A friend of mine specifically is going through something like that right now. So hopefully he's listening. Henry says, I think to buy $1,000 US worth guitar, you should see it first in the shop to try it. Internet gives you bad surprises. Yes, I agree. I mean, if you buy anything, you should play it first, even if it's not $1,000. Definitely get the feel for it to see if you like it. I would not recommend anybody buy anything sight unseen because, yeah, you will get surprised. There's just certain things you can't tell from a YouTube video. and you will probably regret it, especially the feel of the neck. You need to know that that guitar neck speaks to you. And if you just go by reviews, yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be right for you. So David says he's telling me. Did you notice that? So basically, slightly forward neck angle on the Harley Benton Fusion. Okay, let me grab the Fusion. I don't know. I did not notice that. Okay, here's the Fusion. And you're saying the neck angle is slightly forward. Okay, are you talking about here? Or are you talking about the entire neck forward? Because I don't see it. So just explain to me where you see the forward neck angle, David. They told me the Fusion comes with a slightly forward neck angle. I don't understand what you mean by that. A forward neck angle. Are you saying the neck this way is tilted forward that way? Is that what you're trying to say? Where it joins the body. You're saying it goes forward. Okay, let me take a look at that. Okay, so the only way I can actually see that is if I look at the spacing between. So the way I would check that and is basically looking at this. So if the space is consistent between here and here, then the neck angle is not forward. So, I mean, if you ask me, and it's hard to see, hold on a second. Well, it doesn't look forward facing to me. If anything, it's slightly backward facing. But that's like, I would say like half a millimeter, not even. But backwards, not forward. So, I mean, if that's the case, that's pretty easy to fix anyway. You can just shim the neck. Do you know what I mean? So if your neck if your neck is doing this, what you do is take your neck off, put a little business card, thick piece of cardboard, put it at the bottom of the pocket, and then you're going to shim it, and the neck will go back that way. So that's not a big deal. A lot of guitars have shims in the neck. If you open them up, you'll see. There's no reason to send them back. You can fix that yourself very easily, as long as you don't go too crazy. Why would you do that on a new guitar? Because why not? I mean, a lot of Fender guitars are brand new, you'll take the neck off, you'll see a shim in there because the neck is never like 100%. So you can easily fix your guitar. It doesn't change any guitar, any value on the guitar. If you send it back, there's a good chance you might get the same thing again. So it's an easy fix. It takes about, no joke, it's just unscrewing the screws, dropping in the spacer, screwing it all back up again. You're done. Just readjust, the height of your strings and make sure you don't have any buzzing, and you're good to go. The tech at Harley Benton told me this was okay. You're saying the tech told you the forward tilt was okay, or shimming the neck was okay? Richard says, yeah, you have to work on brand new guitars if they're made by Harley Benton or Gibson. Philip wants to know how the Jalen is in the Fusion. The output of that pop hotter than the Roswell. Is it easier? Is it easy to install? The pickup is straightforward to install. It's just a question of dropping it in and wiring it up. It's not necessarily a hotter pickup, but it does sound fuller. Cool Tunes made easy. Tony, you have any experience with stock 8515 pickups? That's what I have on my PRS SE24. Your thoughts, if any? I like them compared to anything else I had on my cheaper guitars. To me, you know, I feel that PRS guitars are great, but the pickups are kind of a little bit all over the place. I've had some SE models that had decent pickups, some of them that didn't. The one I have, that's the US made one, I still have the original pickups in them. They definitely have a very unique tone to them. They're not necessarily like vintagey sounding, but they do have a very unique tone to them. Some people love them, some people don't. For the price that you're paying for the American PRS pickups, pretty expensive. I don't know if I'd buy a PRS pickup to put into that guitar. I would probably buy something else. But I mean, it all depends what you're looking for in terms of a tone. Like, what kind of a tone are you after? Are you looking at, and what do you like about the 8515 specifically? Fat Philosopher says, my custom better play like butter when I get it or I'll be pissed. I totally agree with you, man. It better play like butter. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you, buddy. Henry says, maybe you should set up your guitar in a Plek machine. I don't think that makes a difference. These guitars that I have, these Gibsons that I have here, are Plecked, and they still have tuning issues. So PRS pickups lack balls. Yeah, in a way, I kind of agree. And it's a Plek machine, not Plek. Plek, I think. How much are those Jalens? The link on Reverb did not have those pups. You think voicing with that Sapele matches the character of the pickup? Okay, so here's the thing. So these pickups were kind of custom wound to what I wanted in terms of specs. So if you want these pickups, contact Jalen. Tell them you saw my pickup review. You want to get a set like this made for you. He'll have the specs and he'll make them exactly the same. Yeah, I think it matches the Sapele very, very nicely. What I was after was something that was going to give me like a nice vintage tone and not overly hot. Because I like the pickups to breathe when I play them. If I want to get more gain out of them, I'll do them with pedals. But I like it to have a nice clean sound and to be well balanced between the neck and the bridge pickup. And I love the raw nickel. I mean, the raw nickels to me is so sexy. I don't know if you agree, but I like them. The Fusion is a nice guitar looking. The neck angle kind of screws it up if you ask me. All those nice features. Again, I don't know what, the neck angle is not a big deal, man. If you're really hesitant to do it, just bring it to a tech. It'll take him like 10 minutes. I think that the 8515s are kind of in between not hot, which I miss from my hot rails. So they're in between, not hot. So you want a little bit more bite, probably, right? It's not just you. The PRS pickups, yeah, at least the ones I've tried, don't have as much bite. I'm considering taking out the pickups on the original one, and probably asking Matt to make me another set of those paths because they sound so great. And if I can get them, I'm sure it will breathe life into that PRS guitar. Uh, I don't play that guitar that much specifically for that reason. I believe on that guitar they're using Alnico 2 pickups, which tend not to be as bitey. I don't know what Matt does with his pickups, but he definitely has the formula done right because, you know, specifically the neck, because, man, I'm so picky about neck pickups, and it's hard to get a neck pickup that still has that clarity, and it doesn't sound like there's a sheet over your amplifier when you're playing the neck. It becomes woofy, you know, and I don't like that. And his pickups don't do that. If I had the dough, I'd probably put his pickups in all my guitars, but they're too expensive. I gotta save my pennies, especially now due to COVID and all that kind of stuff, right? Let me just quickly. There was a couple of questions I wanted to answer actually. Let me just. When I did the review on the Obsidian wire solderless harness, and that I put into my Gibson, I had gotten a question regarding how easy it was to install this, and he was the viewer was asking me I should have done a video on that, but I mean, you're working in a little compartment this big, it's kind of hard to show people exactly what you're doing. But basically he was asking me how easy it was to install. It was a breeze, it really was. It's just taking the stuff out, dropping it in, you know, screwing up the just attaching the screws onto the pots, and just clipping in a couple of wires and you're good to go, man. It was a breeze. I highly recommend the Obsidian wire solderless system to anyone that's looking to upgrade the wiring in their Gibson guitar. And then I did a video also on a Fender 52 reissue versus a Squier Classic Vibe. That video is pretty old. It's a very old video that I did, probably over 10 years now, or getting close to it. And so I still get comments on this regularly. And basically, people still don't believe how good the Classic Vibes sound. The Classic Vibe shootout in that particular video, I think a lot of people like the Classic Vibe tone because it's very bitey. It has a lot of bite to it. Whereas the Fender 52 reissue, the pickups don't sound as bitey. So I think that came through the video a lot better. The quality of the recording on the video is not fantastic, but I mean, a lot of people I think like it because of that reason. And I'm still getting regular questions on, you know, that people can't believe that they prefer the Squier over the Fender. Then there's still good guitars, man. I don't know why people don't like Squiers. The Classic Vibes are great starting instruments for sure. And then on one of my videos where I was talking about tinnitus and basically dealing with that and how I damaged my hearing, and I got some comments on that as well. And Missy M5424 was saying that basically they damage their hearing as well, and not just by playing loud, but playing loop music in their headphones. And a lot of people don't realize how loud headphones could be, especially the ones that you're putting directly in your ear. You have no filter, and there's nothing stopping the sound from bombarding your eardrum directly, and it's very easy to like damage your hearing. And if you have tinnitus or tinnitus, however you want to pronounce it, it's a real pain because it doesn't go away. And I have it, and I've been very careful ever since I've been having this issue not to overdo volumes, especially playing live. And I'll definitely put in ear protection, especially the ear, specifically where I have the tinnitus. And hopefully, I don't think it'll get better, but it won't. It'll stop it from getting worse, I think. Hopefully. And then on the Black Star, the JJN, there was a comment on that as well. And a lot of people have asked me this because the Black Star amps, the HT5s are very similar in terms of layout and look as the JJNs. And a lot of people assumed it's the same amp, you know, but it's not. It's actually been tweaked, and it's not exactly the same amp, the same output. Um, but the layout is the same. The inputs are the same. You have to go around the bottom, and it's a little bit of a pain. So Old Boy in Georgia says that he has the HT5, and it's very similar to the JJN. And it's a real pain for him to hook up the cables because they're underneath. And I agree with him. I mean, they're labeled. You can see them, but you can't see the actual plug unless you feel around the bottom. So I don't know why they did that, but I mean, I guess they're not going to change the entire layout of the amplifier just because it's a new model. They're going to keep the chassis and stuff designed the same way. But that would be something nice to see them fix if eventually they do come out with a new line. Um, I'm on a budget, $75 to have a luthier shim it. I took it to a couple of luthiers to look at, but they agree with the consensus. It's basically okay. Action is just higher than it should be. If a luthier is charging you $75 to shim your neck with a little piece of cardboard, you should go to another luthier. This is something you can do yourself, buddy. I'm telling you, it's not difficult. It's not going to cost you $75. It's going to cost you take take a business card. All right, they have different thicknesses. Take a business card, cut a little piece off, which is maybe like, I don't know, 10 millimeters by the length, not the length, but the width of the card, right? If you hold it vertical, just take it, unscrew your neck here, drop it into the neck pocket, make sure it's at the bottom of the neck here, and then screw everything back. So if you have a forward tilt, you're now going to have a backward tilt. Readjust the height of your strings, and you should be good to go as long as you don't have any buzzing. If it goes too far, what's going to happen is your strings are going to hit the fretboard here, right? So if you know how to adjust the height of your strings, you should be fine. Have you ever come across Bugera amps? I have a V22 watt, which I use mainly more than my Tubemeister 18 ever here. Yes, of course, I have heard of Bugera. They make budget amplifiers that sound martially, in my opinion. A lot of people use them and consider them bigger, kind of beginner amplifiers, just because there were some issues with the line at the beginning, and they were kind of unreliable. They would break down often, but a lot of people that have used them like the way they sound. And I know they have a huge 150 watt head, which I don't know why they're still making 150 watt amp head instead of going with lower wattage. But yeah, the ones that I've heard, the videos that I've heard, they're okay. I mean, for the amount of money they're selling for, if you're on a budget, it's something that you might want to consider, especially if you're not gigging with them. Cool Tunes Made Easy on your ear issue. Is yours triggered from high frequencies? I'm pretty sure I crapped out my hearing when my drummer was hitting the cymbals like crazy, and I wasn't that far from him, and caused my hearing. So yeah, the high frequencies are worse for your ears than the low frequencies for sure. Michael Scott says I have tinnitus, but it's from the chemo treatment. They did not disclose this as a side effect of chemo treatment for cancer. I wish I had known. Wow, man. Sorry to hear that, Michael. The chemo is probably affecting your nerves or some of the nerves causing that issue. But hopefully that'll go away, man, once the chemo is done with. Alan says, I have a low frequency tinnitus in my left ear caused by a rifle shooting without protection. I learned the hard way. Yeah, man, you definitely want to wear hearing protection if you're shooting all the time, buddy. Just takes one. And it's weird. At the beginning, I would get these weird things, like almost like distortion. It was kind of strange. I'd be like, everything would be fine. Then all of a sudden, my ear would be doing some kind of like, almost like, you know, when you're getting distortion coming through a speaker, like, and it was very odd. And in the morning would be the worst. Like when you're, you know, waking up, you're lying in bed and the house is quiet, and then that's when you actually hear it most, right? When things are quiet. And yeah, it's pretty frustrating, man. But I hear you can kind of tame it over time if you're very careful with your hearing. Richard says, I would have expected more from that model. I found that the cheaper Harley Benton guitars take me a few attempts to get them adjusted to my 2mm or 1.5mm action preference. Why so low? I mean, you know, at the beginning I would do that too. I would try and get my action really, really low. But then, you know, you're constantly adjusting because, you know, 1 or 2mm off the fretboard, a little change in climate will throw things out of whack. And I'm a pretty hard strummer. And I decided that having things a little bit higher was a good compromise for me. So nowadays, I just keep things a little bit higher, but not too much so. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like to have my fingers like go underneath the strings when I'm bending, you know, like if I'm bending uh, like a G, I don't want it to go under the D string, you know. That's too that means the strings are way too high. Well, all right, guys. I've been online for over 2 hours now. This definitely went longer than I expected today, but I really I had a great time chatting with you guys. I'll keep you guys informed about the Zoom session. Hopefully, we can get that going. That would be really cool. And maybe we'll figure out how to get the registration happening, and I would love to try that with you guys. So if you guys are interested in joining a live conversation, we will definitely try and get that underway. And just stay tuned to the channel for information on that. I'll post it on the Addicted to Gear channel, and I'll put a link somewhere, and hopefully we won't get crazy people on the actual Zoom session. Otherwise, we'll just can their asses, and that'll be it. But I think we can get it to work, and I'm looking forward to that. And then we can actually meet face to face and share part of the community and show the guitars and all kinds of cool information. We can share that with everybody. I think that will be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be other videos coming up this week for sure. I promised you guys I'll be putting up some stuff by Nook or by Crook. And definitely, if you have comments, you know what to do. Leave your comments. Give me a thumbs up, guys. I really do appreciate it. And obviously, the more interaction you have on my videos when I post them, the better the ranking is in YouTube. So feel free to ask your questions and post your comments. I always do appreciate that. And thank you all for tuning in, especially the guys that haven't tuned in before. I know that there's a few of you this session that I haven't seen before. I hope you'll tune in regularly on Sundays. And of course, for the regular listeners, I always appreciate you guys coming in and sharing the Sunday mornings with me. Let's keep that up, guys. I think we all enjoy it, and it's something cool, something to look forward to. Keeps us looking forward to Sunday, right? So that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much, and please stay tuned to the channel, and I'll be definitely posting some new stuff. So come and check it out, and keep rocking, guys. Stay tuned. All right. See you soon, guys.